about your business to go to another level. You must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Drastic Results, yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Tony Harris Taylor. Drastic Results, oh yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Yeah.
Hi, Tony Harris Taylor here with another amazing author for the Lead Loud Entrepreneurs Building Legacy Through Drastic Leadership Project. My guest is Star Bobatoon, who is not only a fabulous client, but she's actually my best friend too. And so she loves when I say that.
I do.
Welcome, Star. In your own words, who are you? What do you do?
So I am Star Bobatoon. I'm a public speaking and presentation coach. I work with professional women who want to have more clarity and more confidence when they speak. I believe that every time you speak, it is a performance, and every place you speak is a stage. And I help these women give the performances they want on the stages they take every time they speak.
Yeah. And while her target market, which she learned from me in coaching, is women, she will work with very smart men. So awesome, awesome. So, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? And I'm going to try not to interject all that I know about your journey here, but why not take a job? You're an attorney, it's in the name, Esquire. Why not just work for a law firm, make the stage a courtroom? Why did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
Well, we'd have to go back to a little bit towards the beginning. See, I started out as an actress on stage and on screen, and loved doing all of that when I was a child. But at the height of my success, there was a lot of hostility, maybe resentment. I don't know. There was a lot of bad feelings going on in and around my circle, and I didn't want it anymore. It lasted for years, and I just decided I was done. I was done with acting. I was putting it aside. I thought that if I dimmed my light and muted my voice, then everything would get better. You know, people would like me again. All would be well with the world. So I did that, and it wasn't a bad choice because I had a good life. I got married, had a couple of kids, you know, became an attorney. Life was good, Tony. Life was good. But something wasn't right. Right? I would drive home at night from my attorney job in downtown Los Angeles, driving my fancy car, and I would just grip the steering wheel, reminding myself that I had everything to be grateful for, that I had every reason to be happy, and still something wasn't right. But I wasn't willing to do anything about it, right? Because, you know, double six-figure incomes, we had the cars, the vacations, kids in private school. I wasn't trying to mess that up. But God had other plans for me, because in the span of a year, my job went away, my marriage fell apart, my dad died, and just all of the anchors of my life went away. And during this time, you know, I decided I wanted to do something else. I didn't know what else I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something else. So I tried all kinds of things. Did some real estate, some multi-level marketing. I did all of these things. Nothing was working. I fell into this really dark depression. And a friend of mine invited me to one of those motivational seminar things. You know, the kind where they have all the people and they talk positive to you. Yeah, I didn't want to go. But I end up going, and I'm watching these amazing speakers on the stage, and it dawned on me that I used to be on a stage, and it dawned on me how much I loved it. And so it was in that moment I decided to go back to the stage, this time as a speaker and trainer. I ended up training with world-renowned motivational speaker Les Brown. I ran his speaker training program, went on to become the #1 trainer in a national seminar company. And then people started saying, hey, Star, I'd like to do what you do. Teach me how to speak, teach me how to present. And that's when I became a coach. So did I decide to become an entrepreneur? I kind of think that life pushed me in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. So, how has being an entrepreneur made you the leader you are today? Because you not only lead clients, but you lead yourself too.
I was going to say that's been the most important part, because it is hard to lead others without leading yourself. And I just want to say that leading myself has not been easy. You
Let's
know, so
All right.
explain.
Let's go back to the question. How
Okay.
are you leading yourself and leading others?
Well, I think you make a very important point there, is that how important it is to be able to lead yourself before you can lead others effectively. And leading myself has been a challenge, I'd like to say, because I get easily distracted. I want to look at this and I want to look at that. I want to do 700 things. I think that what has helped me be better about leading myself is, of course, doing more meditation, more sitting still with myself, more, having prayers, more of that has helped me sort of center myself. And then I've got to tell you, surrounding myself with the right community, having you as a coach, having my other coaches, just having my virtual assistants, having people around me to help me stay accountable. And that helps me lead myself towards the things that I want to do. And leading clients really is, for me, it's really about listening and hearing and seeing them for who they are, not as I would like them to be. I actually believe that as a coach, my job is to dig inside my client's heart, in their minds, to find out the best parts of themselves and to hold up a mirror so they can see it. So leading them starts with the listening, the seeing, the hearing who they are, seeing them for who they are, and then bringing out the best parts of them. I think that is the job of every leader, to bring out the best in the people that they lead, to create more leaders.
Yeah. So the name of the book is Lead Loud. So what does it mean to lead loud?
What does it mean to lead loud? I think leading loud means, the way I envision it, is standing tall with your shoulders back and your head high. It means being okay with everything that you are. People like us, Tony, I know you have heard more than once that you're a little much. Why don't you just settle down a little bit? So I have heard that for most of my life. And I've done many years where I've tried to dampen myself, kind of pull myself down a little bit. But I realize that's just not me. So I will lead loud means standing in my full authority, standing in who I am, being willing to amplify my voice, my thoughts, and being willing to be wrong in public, right? Being willing to be wrong and pull back if I need to, but just being out there. That is what it means to lead loudly, to use your voice to its full capacity, to use your good china, I like to say, to use your gifts to their full capacity. That's what it means.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, and you're right. People have told us to settle down, but that's not leading. A true leader wants to amplify your gifts. And if our gifts is being bigger, then more power to us. Because we do have some things where, we need to, but yeah. Okay. Tell me about a moment You had to take a drastic step to grow as a leader. And what did you learn from that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, woo, the drastic step that I had to take to grow as a leader was to step out on my own.
Mm.
I was in a position where I was high-ranking person in a company, and man, I loved it. I loved it because I had status and I had significance and I had money, and it was nice. It was nice being in that place, but there was this pull. There was this calling to go out on my own. And I'm telling you, I didn't want to do it. I start trying to make deals. I start trying to negotiate. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step out a little bit. I'm going to take one step over here, but I'm going to keep my other foot in. And that didn't work out. It didn't work out. And it gave me so much angst and stress and drama, but it was all within me. No one else was giving me this. It was all within me. And I came to realize that the reason I was having stress and drama and angst was because I was resisting. I was resisting. And I think the drastic step came when I released the position and just stopped resisting. Just stopped resisting, and went back to building my own business, and it's turned out well. It's working well, but man, getting to that place where I could have full faith in myself,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
drastic step.
Yeah. And I was with you and still am with you through this journey, but I see growth in you as we speak. I see you doing drastic things as we speak. And so I'm loving watching you in your journey. So, what legacy are you intentionally building with your business? What legacy?
The legacy I am building is tens of thousands of women who are unmuting their voices and shining like the stars that they were meant to be. So I am a presentation coach, and I'm gonna teach you how to speak, on a stage, and to deliver and to have that personality and to give a great performance. I am definitely going to teach you to do that. But what I find, Tony, is that people can't get to that spot until they answer the question, why aren't you speaking? What's
Mm,
holding you back? Right? And I'm
mm,
not just talking about speaking on a big stage in front of thousands. Why aren't you speaking in that board meeting? Why aren't
mm,
you speaking in that one-to-one relationship? Why
mm,
aren't you speaking? And we have to dig deep to find that, to uncover whatever story that is that you have created in childhood, in pain,
mm.
and how do you rewrite that story to let it go so that you can show up as your full self on every stage you take. So my legacy is the tens of thousands of women who will rewrite those stories and write the stories of the lives that they were meant to live. That will be my legacy.
Yeah. And I'm watching you do just that. So, how has leadership impacted your community and industry? How's your leadership impacted your community and your industry?
So, you know, there are a lot of people out there on the streets, doing a lot of work. Some of them are doing good work, and some of them are just out there in the streets, you know. And I think that the positive leadership, there's always room for others. The positive leadership is cooperative. right? And there's a lot of that in our industry, this cooperative nature where people are willing to help themselves. I was talking to a sales expert today, Brian McNeil, and immediately I asked a question. He's pouring into me, right? And we're pouring into each other. And that, I believe that is what leadership should be. And in most cases, it is. But there are places where it is more, let's say, selfish and closed. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I have watched you coach people, when I say industry, coach people to unmute their voice, but also to just show up in more confidence with more clarity.
That's exactly
And
what it is. Mhm.
because you have done the work, you're now able to help others to do the same. And so for me, how you are impacting the industry is giving these women the clarity they need, confidence they need to be able to show up the way they're supposed to, right?
Exactly.
So your drivers, your core values that drive your decisions as a business owner. What's your core values?
My core values. So, there are different kinds of values. There are like actual values, and then there are aspirational values, right? So, one of my aspirational values is action, right? I
Mm,
want to be a woman of action. I am not always a woman of action, but that is something that I value, and I'm moving toward that, right? The other thing is intentionality, right? Just being intentional about everything that I have to do. Being intentional, because I'm not always intentional, but when I embrace that value, I get more done and I feel better about myself. And one of my core values, and it is actually on the back of my phone, is gratitude.
mhm.
Gratitude is a core value because there's always something to be grateful for, right? And
Absolutely.
I believe that if you focus on gratitude, everything else seems possible. But you cannot be grumpy and grateful at the same time. That much I know. So gratitude is one of the core and driving values that I have.
Yeah. Your phone actually says happy and grateful.
Is happy and
So
grateful.
that happy is the opposite of the grumpy. And so I love that. Was it a time you've ever wanted to give up? And how did you push through to keep going?
Oh, you mean yesterday? No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
there are so many times that I have wanted to give up. There are times that I gave up, just gave up. Man. So this recent position that I had, um, so it came at a time when I was giving up, when I had decided that, you know what, I just need to get a job. I'm done with this. I've been trying. It's been years. It's not going where I want to. This up and down and up and down and up and down of the entrepreneur's life. I was like, done. Can you just give me a job? Can you just give me a
Hmm.
job? And so I believe that was a form of giving up.
Sure.
The thing about giving up, well, it's not that. The thing about a calling is why they call it a calling, is because it keeps calling. It keeps
Mhm.
so even though there's a whole part of me that gave up, I'm done, the calling was still there. The calling was still there. People were actually calling to
Yeah.
work with me, and I'm working with people here and there, and I'm doing my keynotes and my training. So I'm answering the calling, but there's this deeper calling that
Yeah.
I am trying to ignore. I liken it to, I was on my way to my destination, to my destiny, on my way to my destiny, and I missed my flight. I missed my flight on my way to a destiny. And then I ended up in the airport, just kind of hanging out, like an extended layover. And I loved it. I loved being in the airport, helping other people, helping them fly off to their destinies. And I'm just doing the thing. But the calling kept calling. It kept calling. It kept calling, like Star Bobatoon, your flight is ready. I'm not going.
Uh-huh.
There came a point where I'm helping all these people take flight, and I'm having to look in the mirror. And I'm not taking flight.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was that one person, Tony, that one person who wanted to, go forward in her entrepreneurship, in her business, but she was scared and she was timid and afraid. And I talked her through it. I talked her through it to get on the flight to her destiny. And as she took off, my heart just cracked open. And it's like, I cannot do this for another person, not one more person, if I'm not willing to do it for myself.
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided to step
Yep.
away from my position and get back to the calling, back to
Yeah.
my business of empowering women to amplify their voices.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. Love it. So I work with you on networking. And so I think you are learning that networking is really important. So you just described it, but maybe you have another answer for this. How do you show up for your network when things get tough?
Um, here's a deal about networking. I used to say that I hate networking, but I've been working with you for a while, so it's not so much hate anymore, especially since I've made a lot of money doing it. So I can't hate it anymore. But and I just, it's the mantra. You got to get out of the house. You got to get out of the house. You got to get out of the house. And
Yeah.
so it's not as hard as it used to be. It's
Yes.
not as hard as it used to be, because you have given me these tools, let's say, tools and ideas about what I'm there for, why I'm networking, what my goal is, and how to do it. So it takes a lot of the pressure off. I used to think that networking was about trying to sell myself. Hey, would you like to buy my services? Hi, you just met me. I don't know you, but would you like to buy my services? I felt like I was selling myself, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But like I said, working with you, you basically taught me that it's about building relationships. And
Right.
that just takes all the pressure off. So I don't go to networking events to get clients. I don't go with that intention. I go with, who can I serve? Who can I connect with? Who can I get to know, right? And I broaden my network that way. And as a collateral, I end up closing clients. Don't mean to do it at all. I went to that networking event a couple of weeks ago because I recognized one of the names. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go. And, because I work on what I do, as far as my irresistible marketing statement, I always have the words and the way to say it. And I bring my energy. And I just spoke for a little bit, introduced myself. Afterwards, one of the women who was on the panel comes to me and says, so what do you do again? And I tell her, about that. And she's like, yeah, I need you to come train my team. Boom. Training engagement, just like that. Did I go to that networking event thinking I'd like to get a training engagement? No, not at all. But when it's just about being myself, relaxing, and building relationships, the clients come.
People are attracted to you. Absolutely. So, what's the best leadership lesson you've learned from rejection or failure?
The lesson learned from rejection. The only thing I've learned from rejection is that it's just not for me. It's just not what is for me.
Yes.
Is for me. And that, whatever that is that was taken away, was not for me. Now, that is a lesson that has taken me a while to get to, because why can't I have all of the opportunities? Correct. And then, nurse the losses. Oh man, if I had just gotten that, it's just I don't have lifespan for that. I don't know. Is it being older and just I don't have time to worry about those things. What is for me is for me. And I don't think anyone can get in the way of what is for me. And what is not for me is not for me. Now, we know we've all had some clients. You knew they weren't for you. You knew it. But you're like, no, I need this money, or I need this opportunity. And you get in there and you're like, man, this was so not for me. So that's the biggest lesson that I've learned from leadership. If it's not for me, it's just not for me.
Yeah. And don't belabor it, right? You can learn from it, but don't belabor it, because it doesn't serve you, right? And if it truly was for you, then timing, it'll come back around.
It'll come back around.
Okay, so how has being a part of the Drastic Results and Network and Action community helped you to lead louder?
Well, can I just say that being in these environments has changed the way I show up. And I believe that helps me lead differently, because I show up with a different kind of confidence, and it's like a relaxed confidence, right? I'm not pushing it. I'm not trying to be anything. I could just be myself and be all of me. And so that has happened. So it has helped me financially. And I know we didn't get to that part, but I'm just going to say that being in this community has made me over $100,000. And the interesting thing is, not from seeking, but from leading, from showing up as the leader that I am, always being willing to help, to reach out, to assist, right? Because sometimes you're not leading from the front. Sure. Sometimes you're leading from the back.
Sure.
Right? And in those times where I'm leading from the back, and I don't even have to be on stage. I'm pushing you, I'm helping you. And somehow that comes on back to me and helps me, right? So
there's a valuable lesson in that. Sometimes when you show up in a position of service, it's also a leadership position. Because Absolutely. What ended up happening is, and I think I know what you're referring to, you came to 2 of my events. You were basically my personal assistant during the time. And all of a sudden, first of all, people were attracted to your energy, but I'm also talking about you in the process. Because you're serving a server, and that's the key. You got to know who to serve, because not everybody's a giver.
That is true.
Not everybody's a giver. So you got to know who to serve. But when you do, and it's authentic, it can come back tenfold.
It just comes back. You're absolutely right. And I am never ashamed of serving. Right? Yeah. I'm gonna serve. I'm gonna be of service. If you need something, I'm here. And it comes back. It comes back.
Yeah. Absolutely. So who inspired your leadership style?
Man, Jim Severson. Jim Severson. Jim Severson was a partner that I worked for. Here's the deal. I believe that title doesn't make a leader, right? And there were in the law firm, there were a couple of people who had the titles. They were partners, right? And I ended up working for 2 of them. The one I worked for was Jim Severson. Jim was amazing because he could see me not as I was, but as I could be, right? Mm-hmm. And he would give me opportunities and teach me things, and not, how a good leader will tell you what to do, but they're not going to do it for you, right? They're just going to say, hey, why don't you think about this? right? The best thing that Jim used to ask me every time was, what do you think? The four most powerful words. What do you think? And I'm a brand new attorney. I don't know what I think. But him asking me that every time made me figure out what I thought. And I would talk to the other attorneys and I would get an opinions because I'm waiting for it. Star, what do you think? And that helped me develop as an attorney. And I think that just made him an amazing leader. And even when I messed up, and I'm a new attorney, so I messed up, Jim's whole thing was, Star, when we make mistakes like this, we don't look good to the clients and we need to, and that was not a we mistake. That was a total me mistake, but he made it we. Do you know? I would do anything for Jim Severson. I spoke to him recently. I haven't talked to him in like 10 years. I spoke to him just to say again, thank you for showing me what true leadership is.
Wow. Wow. I love that. That's awesome. I'm like, who is that? I'm your friend, and I ain't never heard
exactly.
that name.
You don't know about Jim Severson. This is a long time ago.
Okay. Well, I love that. So what bold or drastic moves or unconventional strategies help you stand out to grow your business? What drastic or bold moves have helped you stand out in your business?
Well, so the people who work with me, there are some people who think that I'm a little firm. What? And so I'm just very direct. But just like I'm direct, if you're doing something and I don't like it, I'm going to stop talking, stop doing that. And I might be a little firm, but when you do something amazing, I'm the first one to go, oh my God, did you just hear what you just said? That was brilliant. Do it again. I have the same enthusiasm. And I think that is what's drastic about me, is that I am very direct and I can be firm. Yeah. So they where I was working, they said, they would proudly talk about their star scars. Star scars, but they say it with love and with laughter. And one of my clients said it recently. She said, yeah, stars a little tough, but look what I can do now that I couldn't do a year ago. She said, correct. Look what I can do now. So thank you very much. So I think that is how I am drastic, a little different than some other coaches.
And that's a great leadership point as well. Sometimes, my clients get upset with me because I am firm sometimes. Yes, you. And because I know what I'm teaching will change their lives, but sometimes they just stand there with the ball and look at the net. I'm like, shoot the shot. Just shoot the shot. I can help you if it don't land. Just shoot the shot. So same thing. And I have star scars too. But they're all in love. Nobody thinks, and I hope my clients, nobody thinks you're doing it to be abusive or, but yeah. All right. So what advice would you give someone who is playing small in their leadership?
The advice I would give is get over it. No, here's the deal. If you are playing small, it is because you are focused on you. You're focused on yourself, how you look, how you think, what people might think about you. Your focus is on you. My invitation is stop thinking about you. Think about the people who are out there who are waiting for your voice.
Oh my God.
Now, there are going to be 1,700 people who do exactly what you do, but they don't have your voice, your experience. They don't have your story. People are out there waiting just for you. And the longer you play small, the more you leave those people out there. Somebody is on the bathroom floor right now, curled up, praying for what you have. Somebody is on the edge of their bed with their head in their hands, wishing for the answer that you have. Somebody is driving in their car, gripping the steering wheel, saying, what is wrong? They are waiting for what you have. Your playing small cheats them of what they need in their lives.
Wow.
So cut it out.
Wow. Cut it out. Guess what? We've had this is so good because she's had to give me that talk. I've had to give her that talk. And it's so true. Most of the time when people are playing small, and if that's you, the listener, the viewer, then you're focused on you. And you're not focused on the people you're meant to serve. You haven't met them yet. The problem is we are focused on the people that we see in front of us. And we think,
Right.
right? And so the people you are meant to serve, you haven't met them yet because the timing isn't right for them to come into your life. So I love that so much. How are you helping others to rise as you rise?
By helping them amplify their voices. That's it. That's it. When I speak to people, and look, I was talking to a fella on the train, on the plane. I was talking to a gentleman on the plane. He wasn't a young man, he was my age, but I'm talking to him on the plane, and he was just telling me he's a salesperson, and he's gone into a slump, and his boss was having a conversation with him, and he was feeling some kind of way, and I just talked to him about stories he could tell. And we talked about his clients, what their pain points were, and then I just asked him a few questions to get this story out. And you know what I did? I pulled that story out of him. Then I retold the story, and he was like, oh my God, that was great. That was wonderful. I think that's going to make a difference. You could see him just light up. I mean, the guy took out pen and paper and was taking notes, right? And I know that I have uplifted him, and I'm not asking anything in return. He is going to, introduce me to his team because of what I did, but I was just doing it to uplift another human being sitting next to me, using the gifts that I have, right? I don't have to be on a stage. You don't have to be my client. If I see that you need something I have, I'm going to give it in every situation.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, here's a final question. We're at the end already. At your funeral, what do you want people to remember about you and the work that you have done?
I want people to think about the fact that I help them tell their stories, that I saw them, that I heard them, that I listened to them, and I help them amplify their voices, help them reclaim their own spirit so that they can do the same for others. I want people to talk about the ripple effect that my life has had on them, on their families, on their communities, perhaps on the world. That's what I want them to talk about at my funeral. Also, I'd like them to say, she sure liked to dance. Because she does. Yeah.
You sure like to dance and show up on stage. I love that. Well, tell everyone how to get in touch with you.
You can get in touch with me. My name is Star Bobatoon. On all the socials, I am Star Bobatoon. My website is starbobatoon.com and email star at, you guessed it, starbobatoon.com. So those are the best ways to get in touch with me. And if you want to make it easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you can go to connectwithstar.com. Connectwithstar.com, and all of my socials and all my things will be there for you.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Star, for sharing your leadership story and how you lead loud and you help others to lead loud by amplifying their voice and owning their stage. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow, and we'll see you with another fabulous author.